Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I'm the East Coast Raver. I'm a video content creator documenting music festivals I attend, sharing my experiences and providing my reviews. In this video, I will be reviewing my second year at Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival 2023. Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival started in 2018 in Boca Raton, Florida. In its third year, it moved to the Orlando Amphitheater when it partnered with Insomniac Production. Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival took place June 9th and 10th at the Orlando Amphitheater in Orlando, Florida. For this festival, I did general admission, and I paid $185 once taxes and fees were collected. Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival does offer GA, GA Plus, and VIP options for ticket purchases. Parking on site for Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival was $30 each day. The lots this year did seem like that they were more monitored and gated to prevent people from breaking in like there has been in the previous years at Forbidden Kingdom. There was also lines to be dropped off for ride shares and picked up for ride shares once you entered the main entrance for the Orlando Amphitheater. Going into the gates for security at Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival, you go through 3 separate checks. The first check that you go through is your ID check. The second check you go through is where they scan your actual bracelet going into the festival, or the barcode that was emailed to you to the email that you used when you registered to purchase your tickets if you had single day tickets. After that, then you'll go through the TSA style pat down. This year I did not see any metal detectors. It was just a pat down and a bag search. I felt like they did a pretty quick job of checking everyone's bag and then patting everyone down. I didn't have any issues each day going through. I think I waited maybe the longest the first day, but I only waited maybe 15 minutes in line. I think I was even quicker the second day. We went in a little bit later in the day, and there just didn't seem like there was too many people there when we got there at like 3 o'clock, which is about 2 hours after the festival opened. If you had different experiences with security or going through any of the line checks, please drop a comment down below. There was a ton of different food at Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival this year. From the basic chicken tenders, I saw sushi burritos, rice and noodle dishes, island noodles, and there was tons of fruit vendors this year, which made it amazing that I didn't have to go run to just specifically one side of the map to get fruit. Each day I did eat a good breakfast and lunch before I went into the festival to make sure that I was just, properly nourished going into the kingdom. As a result, the first day I didn't really eat anything inside the festival. I nibbled on one of my friends' leftover fries that they didn't want, and then I ate after the festival, which saved me a little bit of money. The second day I did eat inside the festival, but after the rain had stopped. So I got some chicken nachos. I wasn't feeling as adventurous to try the sushi burrito, even though I did see a girl that had one, and I'm gonna pop up a picture here. It looked fucking amazing, and she even said it was flavorful as hell, giving a full Yelp review right in front of me. So I waited about 45 minutes in line just to get this pashmina, and I'm glad I did get in line right away because I think the line only got longer as the day went on into about nightfall, and then I saw that there was no one there, obviously, because everyone was at the sets. I didn't wait very long at any of the restrooms that I went into. Thankfully, this festival actually utilized restroom facilities that were on site. I had these grounds a few times for festivals, and this year they had facilities for GA members to use that were actual restroom facilities, not porta potties. They did still have porta potties, but not as much because they were utilizing the restroom structures on site. There were 2, I believe, GA Plus full restrooms as well. One was by Main Stage, and I want to say one was by Mystic. The porta potties by far were the worst, if anything. I know even the ones that were outside the festival were just really gross. Day 2, I don't even know if they got cleaned. At one point, one of my friends went into one of the porta johns, opened the door, and said there was poop literally on the floor, on the toilet seat. It just looked like someone pooped everywhere, all over the porta john. So it was just gross. So this year they did have the typical vendors village, but it was not inside the air hangar that it was in previous years. I'm not sure if it was in the air hangar last year, but that's where it was in 2019 when the last time I went to Forbidden Kingdom was. Didn't go peruse. I didn't really also have the extra money to go in this year. Like I said in my day 2 vlog, I was trying to be a little bit frugal. As you saw, I slept in my car night 1 to save some money. So they did have a boutique beauty bus on site. It was right outside the Dragon's Den. They had cornhole right out front of it. I also didn't go in here. It didn't seem like something that I needed or really wanted to experience. If you went inside this bus and you got anything from there, or you just interacted with any of the people, could you comment down below? Candy's World also had a free candy making station both days of this festival. It was more towards the center, kind of by like the wizard and like the Mystic stage. There was also a free body marbling station. It was right in front of Candy's World. There were plenty of free water refill stations at Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival this year, and I don't think I waited too long in any of them as well. I think the one in the center by where all of like the main merch and everything was out was probably the longest one that I waited in line for. The one next to the village stage was very easy in and out every single time I went. I think after like a couple hours of being at the festival, that was the one that I was going to refill my stuff, just because I knew I could get in and out of there a little bit quicker. That was always a plus. I didn't have to wait too long. Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival does offer locker rentals. I did not purchase a locker. I have my lunch boxes and my snack pack that I utilize to carry everything that I need with me both days of the festival. But if you purchased a locker and you had experiences with those, leave a comment down below. I did not notice any live painting this year. I did notice that they did increase the amount of photo ops and photo opportunities for the live performers that they had moving throughout the crowd. The misters were also a good addition to this festival this year because of how hot it was. This festival started at 1 p.m., which is like ramping up for like the hottest part of the day. So being able to be cooled down was really nice. Other than like the Dragon's Den, which I didn't know was a stage at first, I was a little confused by that. I thought it was literally just a cool down tent. To be honest, it really wasn't that cool when we went in. It was only cold like the first couple hours of each day, and then after that, it just got progressively hotter. I remember going in about 4 o'clock, I think just before Rec Now, and it was so hot in there. Like, they had the doors open, letting all the AC out. It was like, what is going on here? This is a swelter box. This is not a cool down tent. For photo ops, you had Alana's Castle, the dragon eggs, the dragon graveyard, and this really cool dragon skull over by the Siberian stage that looked like a mounted dragon skull. I did not take pictures with it because every time I went over there, it was just way too long for some of these lines. This year for Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival, there were 5 stages. The Dragon's Den. This is the cool down warehouse. I didn't realize that this was a stage at first. I really thought it was just going to be like a total warehouse where you could just go sit and get out of the heat, and like, at least that's what it was advertised as, in my opinion. And then when I got there and I saw that there was a DJ at the end, I was like, oh, okay, so this is not going to be hot, because you got DJs playing in here. You got people coming in and out nonstop. It was a good idea in theory, but I think next year this needs to not be a stage. That's just my opinion. I know it was a great back-to-back-to-back in times infinity on day 2, but I didn't go in here more than a couple times after the first day. So the village stage was over by the lake near Alana's Castle. On Friday, this was All Rhythm. It was the All Rhythm stage. On Saturday, it hosted Peekaboo's Takeover with his hide and seek label. In the previous years, this stage was inside where the Dragon's Den is currently at for 2023. And to be honest, this stage was pretty much a vibe, other than it being a little hot during the day. In the afternoon, It did have 2 shade structures nearby that were able to hold plenty of people if you did need to get out of the sun and didn't want to leave the area completely. The Siberian stage. This is in the actual amphitheater on site. It has giant flat screens that you can see all the way back up the hill that is right in front of it. It's got plenty of room for you to chill if you want to be further away, if you want to be close up. It's got a giant concrete slab in the front for the pit, the Mystic stage. So this stage this year was inside the air hangar that is on site. Last year it was just a tented covered structure, which I heard apparently collapsed one of the days. I don't remember hearing too much about that, but apparently I saw a recent video where people were saying that it did. So I'm assuming that's why they moved it inside the air hangar this year. To be honest, I really enjoyed this stage, especially when it rained. It was the only actually fully covered shaded structure on site besides the Dragon's Den. This stage played lots of drum and bass over the weekend, as well as hardstyle and more dubstep. The Forbidden stage. This is your main stage and the biggest stage of this festival. To be honest, walking up and seeing this stage this year after seeing what it looked like in 2019, I was blown the fuck away. I was like, this stage is massive this year. From all just the different types of panels they had in there with the overlays to make it look like brick. The chandelier at the top was like fucking insane. The VIP entrance for this stage was along the right hand side, and it was a pretty huge side of this stage for VIP members. And to be honest, I felt like the biggest of any of the stages that got VIP viewing decks, because it came up the entire side. The whole right back side of it was like your VIP just chilling area where they had all your drinks and food and tables for you to go be at. And then coming up the front part of the stage, like you had this huge spot for you just to go like be. And I felt like they had like ample room to not be overcrowded. Not that I felt like this stage was too overcrowded either of the days. I was able to make it almost damn near to the rail for DJ Diesel, Ganja White Knight, and Excision. So I had a great time interacting with everyone that I met this year, everyone that I talked to online that told me that they were going to the festival that I could meet up with or try to meet up with. I pretty much did. There were a few people that I didn't because of the hecticness that happened on day 2. I don't know if certain people left or not because of the rain. The bass community really just is very welcoming and very nice in some regards. In other regards, I felt like I heard a lot of negativity just being spread around the festival, especially when the rain started on day 2. There was just a lot of people just being like, fuck Insomniac, fuck Forbidden Kingdom, because, you know, they were trying to tell them that the festival was over. It is what it is, but come on, guys. Like, y'all still stayed. You still got a performance. I did just notice that there was just a lot of prevalence to, like, not giving a fuck about whether or not people were openly doing drugs or buying drugs, which to each your own. But I sat down at the Dragon's Eggs one day, I want to say it was day 2 before it started raining, and this group just like kind of like oversat on top of me, and while I was laying down, so like they saw me laying down and just sat down like almost damn near on top of me, try to sell drugs to every single person around me. And it was just like, hey man, him, and I'm like, all right, now I need to get the fuck away from this, because like this is awkward. Like, you're gonna draw attention to yourself. Like, it was just very rude. So there was a couple times that happened that I was just like, what are you guys doing? Buying drugs inside of a music festival is one of the dumbest things. If you're going to be doing substances anyways, please buy testing kits, get your substances tested, so that way you know exactly what you are doing and what you are putting in your body. Especially with the amount of fentanyl that is in the world these days, just being put in things. I know Insomniac is partnered with End Overdosed. They put it right next to the merch booth, so that way everyone coming out of merch had a chance to actually see this, which I thought was a very smart thing for them to do this year. I didn't have any issues with anyone like really rude per se. Like, I was in mosh pit, so people were shoving, obviously, so no one was really like shoving through the crowd. Everyone was saying please and thank yous, like moving through the crowd. I know I held up my phone with the screen on it that said excuse me please, as I was trying to get through. I didn't have anything stolen this year. I kept everything safe in my lunchbox and my snack pack. If you had any experiences having anything stolen at Forbidden Kingdom this year, please drop a comment below. After attending both days of this festival, there's only a couple things that I really could ponder as to what they could improve on going forward. So this list is simply for that, of just simple improvements that I feel like next year that they can make to make the Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival a better experience for everyone that is attending. The first thing I think they should improve on is I think they should change the date. To be honest, I remember when I went in 2019 and it was in May, it was still hot, but it wasn't like as hot, and I don't remember it raining. So I would really opt for them to want to change the festival to April or May, just to kind of push it outside of the hurricane season. I think this will also help with the shade structures not being as hot, because that was one of the things I noticed too. Like, it was just very hot even sitting underneath the shade structures day one. I think I went inside the Mystic tent to get out of the sun, because it was a lot cooler to be in there with the open air and the ceiling fans that they had going, as opposed to what it was inside of the Dragon's Den, which was just a swelter box. If they don't do this, I really feel like they should make this festival 3 days long and start each day at 4 p.m. just to mitigate like how hot it is. I live in Florida and I thought day one was just a little too unbearable. Thankfully, I brought like liquid IVs with me to put inside my lunch boxes. Another thing I think that they need to do is make the cool down tent more cold. There needs to be more circulating air in there, maybe more fans, but this could also play a factor into if they start the festival later in the day, it won't be as hot and it will keep the actual warehouse even cooler. Another thing Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival needs to do going forward is to have better communication with its attendees still inside the festival if there is another weather event to happen while we are all still on premises. I did think it was really odd that we were being told that like, hey, the festival was being shut down, and then as soon as the rain stopped, they're telling us that the festival needs to be evacuated, which created a lot of confusion. And then you have employees telling us not to leave, and then you start playing evacuation messages. Like, all around, very confusing. I felt like that was one of the main things I saw on social media that people were complaining about, just lack of communication from Insomniac on that part, especially about like stages and stuff that were shut down. I know the Forbidden stage didn't reopen the rest of Saturday. I actually had to text my partner to get information as to what statements Insomniac was putting out, because I didn't have internet reception whatsoever after the rain. I was able to text and call people, but I could not get pictures in. I could not get anything to open up on any of the Insomniac app. I could not get social medias to work. So that's why a lot of my posts weren't like really going through right away until like later in the night. But yeah, I actually had to text him to find out like what they were saying, who was playing at which stages, and the only information I got was the grounds have been deemed for us to stay, and there's going to be a B4B at the Siberian stage. We knew nothing about the insane rhythm back-to-back at times infinity over in the Dragon's Den. So it was just like, come on, Insomniac. No one knew what was going on anywhere. I know people were still allowed to come into the festival because I talked to a couple people that came in after the rain, but I didn't talk to anyone that left that was already there and then try to come back. So if you had experiences with that, please drop a comment down below. The last thing that I think that Forbidden Kingdom could improve on for next year is making the village stage a covered stage. I think having the shade structures extend further into where the DJs are actually playing, maybe similar to like how they had the Mystic stage last year, just like fully cover that part, because being just out in the sun and only having one stage fully covered is so detrimental. Yeah, they had structures next to them, but like it was so far away. Like even just standing at the pit for the village stage, like day one, I think day two when I saw Stellar, I was like sweating my ass off at 3 o'clock, and I was just like trying to use my fan to like cover me. And so I feel like next year would really improve and be such a blessing for everyone over at that stage. I'm not saying bring back the giant tent, because I understand there was an issue with it maybe collapsing or falling apart during that, but something to cover it just a little bit more, to provide a little bit more shade if they're going to keep the village stage over off to that side, which, to be honest, I really do feel like they're probably going to keep this layout going forward. It was dope. I do want to thank Insomniac and Pepe Vargas for providing exactly what they said they were going to provide for this festival this year. They did a great job at providing plenty of shade structures at multiple areas throughout the festival for people to get out of the sun. And the addition of the Dragon Misters were also a blessing. Hell yes, I would return to Forbidden Kingdom Music Festival 2024. If they keep the same layout that they made for this year going into the next year, Forbidden Kingdom 2024 is just gonna blow everyone's fucking minds. I really hope that they don't oversell this festival for next year though, even though this year I didn't feel like it was crowded. There was plenty of room between all of the stages, and obviously the main stage is going to always be the most crowded, but had the other stages not been shut down on day 2, I don't feel like they would have been as overcrowded as they were. I feel like it would have been a little bit more spread out, because Siberian did get pretty heavy for day 2 for the Forbidden 4, but it is what it is. They provided everything that they said they were going to provide. To be honest, Insomniac put on a pretty good fucking festival this year, and I'm really happy with the amount of money I spent on it to go, from all the experiences that I had with my friends while I was there, to the music. Everything was great. Yeah, there's always going to be some hiccups, but that's life. Nothing's going to be 100% perfect. So I definitely feel like I would return for this festival. Next year I'm probably going to do GA Plus just to have a little bit more elevated experiences and to see what those are like, instead of doing GA like I did this year. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Make sure to like and subscribe for future content, and click that bell notification to be notified when new videos go live on my channel.